Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades, and welcome back. And what are we getting back into? We are getting into the Ultimatum South Africa. We are now on episode 6, Broken Bonds and Boundaries. So from the previous episode, we know that Ruth has basically let it out to Lebo that her and Nala have been sleeping together, and she says not once, not twice, but thrice. I think it was more than that, but you know what? We catch the drift of what Ruth is saying. Anyway, before I forget, because I just started in with the episode because the episode was juicy. It was giving a lot to me. Anyway, before I start, please hit that subscribe button so when you know I'm on and doing videos. Please hit that notification button, and also please comment, like, share, do the good things that you do, because what am I on the road to? On the road to 1k. Yes, I am. Anyway, now we can keep going. As I already said, yes, Lebo's gone to take some time. Lebo is clearly pissed the fuck off about what's happened. So as it is, Lebo is basically taking a walk, but she actually takes a walk to the apartment of Nola and Ruth, because Nola is now back from his night out with the boys. He is none the wiser of what the fuck is going to happen, because he sat down with Isaac about telling Isaac about how he ain't touched Ruth, how he ain't slept with Ruth. Yes, they've got close, but they ain't gone that close with each other. Lies upon lies upon lies this man tell. Anyway, so you see Caesar and Kay just before we get onto the Lebo and Nala stuff. So you see Caesar and Kay meet up back at their apartment, and Kay's basically grabbing her up, asking Caesar if she missed him. She's saying yeah, and they're giggling and doing their thing. So basically Ruth now is at the point where she knows she has to go back to that apartment and let Nala know that she's told Lebo everything. Lebo is saying she has a lot of questions, but my thing is yes, she's angry right now. She ain't going to be thinking in a state where she needs to get answers to certain things that she wants to be asking. I think at this point, Lebo is at a level of angriness that she'll probably box Nala out, to be fair. At first, when it was going on, I thought she was going to box out Ruth, but she didn't. She was mad at him, which is true. She should have been mad at the right person, which was Nala. At the end of the day, Nala owed her that level of protectiveness, but also that level of respect and that level of loyalty. Nala owed that to Lebo, but he didn't give her that in the slightest. So Lebo confronts Nala. He doesn't come out of the place straight away, and basically when Lebo's asking him and saying that he's been sleeping with that girl, as in Ruth is already back at the flat. She didn't even get a chance to tell this man that she told Lebo what she told her at the end of the day. She didn't get a chance to forewarn him, which was better, because he got surprised on the hop. So he has the audacity to turn around to Lebo and ask her who told her that. Who told her that? And I'm like, where else would it come from, Nala? At the end of the day, you and Ruth been sharing bodily fluids. Where the fuck do you think that information will come from? Where the fuck do you think Lebo would get the information from? Stupid question. So Lebo in her VC thinks that Ruth and Nala may have planned this all along, especially when it comes to Ruth telling her exactly what happened between her and Nala, because she thinks that they'd planned to leave together. I think up to a point they probably planned to leave together, but I think Nala's so flipping flaky, he wouldn't have done it at all. He just wouldn't have done it. So Nala in his mother tongue says that Ruth is lying. And I thought, boy, are you stupid? Are you stupid? Are you dense? Is there something wrong with you? Do you need to lay down and then get back up and then rethink your option of trying to say that Ruth is lying? Because the question will be, well, why would she say it? Not because she wants to wreck your relationship, but then it puts her in the spotlight too. So why the fuck would she tell Lebo something like that? Why are you lying for? And then that's when Nala was like, oh shit. So his go-to was, I'ma lie my way through this and hope I come out the other end and convince Lebo that it ain't what it seems. But Lebo not stupid. Lebo is not stupid. So you see Nala then turn to Ruth with his whole ass, yeah, turn to Ruth and says to Ruth, why would you joke and lie to Lebo that we had sex? I was like, my guy, you okay? Are you good? Do you need help? Do you need support? Because why are you turning to Ruth to literally invalidate the truth that she told to your woman? At the end of the day, you were doing wrong, my love. You were sticking your wick in somebody else and you expected Lebo not to have found out. When the fuck was Nala going to let Lebo know that, you know what, he'd been having fun in the coochie moo with Ruth? When was he going to let her know that? Because at the end of the day, Nala didn't let Isaac know that at all. So you see Nala in his VC talking about he has to deny everything to give Lebo that peace. Is he off his jolly rockers? Like, seriously, how can you cheat on someone, then deny it to them when they're trying to find out the truth, trying to say it's going to give them peace, when you know it's not going to give Lebo peace, because Lebo knows it's the truth. She needs you to admit it. In Nala's admittance, will Lebo find the peace that she's looking for at the end of the day? Him not admitting it, she will never find that peace because she knows what the truth is with this man. So he follows Lebo home. Lebo is basically telling him to leave her alone. He won't leave her alone. So Ruth is sat in the apartment by herself. And this is where the biggest picture should be given to Ruth, that Nala is a game player. Nala is a player. If it's open to him where he knows he won't get found out, and it's in a circumstance where, you know what, we ain't talked about boundaries, you've given me carte blanche, this is the person I'm going to act like I'm married to, and I'm going to enjoy it to the fullest of the sense because it's his whole pass at the end of the day. She now needs to catch a clue, Ruth does, and walk away from Nala and not be expecting anything from this man, because at the end of the day, if he can invalidate your fucking truth in the way that he did to Lebo, and then he chases his ass after Lebo, tells you exactly what you need to know about this man. So Lebo busts into the apartment. Aiden's like, what the fuck is going on now? Because he knows something's completely blew up. And Lebo's shouting at Nala about how she trusted him. And in true Nala style, he tries to enlist the help of Aiden. Aiden was like, yeah man, I ain't helping you. That's your dumpster fire right there to sort the fuck out. I ain't helping you in the slightest. So Aiden was like, well, you didn't come clean tonight, my mate. You should have come clean, and you need to come clean now. So Nala is trying to talk Lebo into circles. She don't want to know at all. So he's then going outside trying to grab her up. So Aiden is having to be the go-between and saying, you know what, let her go. Let her have her space. She doesn't want to talk to you right now. You lied. You should go do what you need to do and leave her the fuck alone, and probably talk to her at another time when she's a little bit calmer. Do you think Nala listened to that shit? Nala no listen to nothing. So people start to hear them arguing and wondering what the fuck is going on, because nobody knows what the situ is at this moment in time. So you see Aiden trying to get Lebo away from Nala, but he keeps on grabbing her at the end of the day. And then he's there talking about how they're still going to get married. I don't know what planet Nala was on, but I think that ship has completely sailed with Lebo right now. You stuck your shit in someone else, and you still think that yous are going to go through this experiment and get married? Are you mad? It told ya, something wrong with this man. Lebo is getting more angrier and angrier at this point, to the point where she literally does physically go for Nala. And Aiden had to literally stop her and literally shout at Nala to leave, because this is not the right time at the end of the day. So Nala goes back to the flat and then decides to have a go at Ruth, and basically says to Ruth, we had an agreement, that we would not tell Isaac or Lebo about what's going on right now. So he turned around and he said this is why he denied any type of sexual relationship with Ruth to Isaac, basically trying to say that he was protecting Ruth in doing that. And I was like, no, my guy, you was protecting yourself in doing that, because you knew Isaac would have got mad at you and you didn't want it to get back to Lebo, because at the end of the day, Nala had all the audacity to tell Isaac he don't want Isaac being friends with Lebo in any way, shape or form, not with his girl, no way, no how. But yet, Nala was, sticking his bits in Isaac's gal at the end of the day. So he did not want it to get back to Lebo. He was actually thinking that Ruth would have kept this secret, but Ruth was like, nah man, my soul is gonna be cleansed today. And that's why she told Lebo at the end of the day, out of respect for Lebo. So he's talking about how what Ruth did, telling Lebo was a betrayal to them too. And I'm like, betrayal to what? Betrayal to what? I was like, all Nala was thinking of, I got my dick wet, I ain't going to get caught, it's a hall pass, yeah? So it isn't technically seen as cheating. In his head, he didn't see it as cheating. But when all the shit started to hit the fan, he needed somebody else to blame. He was not going to accept responsibility for his own actions. That's why he was then trying to blame Ruth for telling Lebo in the way that he did, in trying to say that they had an agreement. They didn't have no agreement. Nala just thought that Ruth was going to go along with his stupidness at the end of the day, and was blindsided when she didn't. Now he's trying to question her as to why would you say something like this. So he's probably believing that Ruth literally just wanted to cause an issue between him and Lebo. So as Ruth is sitting there and staring up at this man in complete disbelief, which she should, because he's full of shit, she asked Nala, well, what was your plan then? And that's when Lebo comes walking in and basically asks Ruth, is he trying to tell you to say lies or say lies to him? And she was like, no, this is what he's trying to get me to say. So at this point, this is when Nala decides, you know what, I'm going to tell Isaac. I'm kind of like, well, why the fuck are you going to tell him now when you had plenty of opportunity to tell this man when he was sat there in front of your face? But now you're getting called out like the prick that you are. Now you want to call Isaac over because you want Ruth to get the same type of medicine that you're getting, because Nala doesn't think it's fair that he's getting blamed for the whole portion of this shit when Ruth was just as in it with him. What Nala's failing to realise is that Ruth actually came out with the truth and was not prepared to lie to anybody. Nala was not prepared to come out with the truth and continue to lie and continue to throw Ruth under this bus by saying that Ruth is lying. So they managed to get a call through to Isaac, and basically Nala didn't tell him nothing on the phone, just come over to the apartment. Now Isaac went, albeit because he was more so curious about how their apartment is and what's been going on there. He didn't know what the fuck that he was going to walk into. So as soon as this man walks in, Ruth went to go and explain it first, and Nala just jumps in with, yeah, I've been having sex with your girlfriend. I've been having sex with Ruth. Me and Ruth have been having sex. Isaac was like, what? Isaac couldn't believe it, but he kind of had an inkling that something like this shit was happening. So he then gets up straight away and walks out to the balcony, completely ignores Ruth, because Ruth walks out after him, trying to probably, I think, go and have a conversation with him. But even while he's out there, he's completely ignoring that she is right there waiting to talk to him. So within that point, Isaac then decides to go straight to Nala. So Ruth said whatever at that point, because you've just completely ignored the fuck out of me when I've come here to try and talk to you. Isaac was not paying this girl no mind. Isaac was in a blur haze of angriness at the end of the day, and the only person that he wanted to either get his hands on physically would have been Nala, because he wouldn't have put his hands on physically when it came to Ruth in that sense. So he would have probably had the space to calm down before him and Ruth had a conversation, because right now it was too fired up at that situation. So then at that point, Nala decides that he now wants to have space, but Lebo don't let him have that space. So Lebo is following this man all the way down the pathway. Then you see Isaac go after him. Them two start to have an argument, as in, what the fuck is happening here? What are you telling me right now? Then you see Isaac Isaac and Nala go to have a fight. It was the poorest fucking setup of a fight in my life. I don't know if these two men have ever fought before in their life, but this one was not it. I mean, there wasn't even a strength to literally go forward to try and push yourself onto person to either punch them, nothing like that. No, Nala was the one that grabbed Isaac's hand. They didn't even get that far before these big strapping security guards came up and pushed them the fuck apart. There wasn't really any no pushing or toing or throwing to say, you fucking like you would normally see when it comes to fights. So me in my head, I'm thinking that was slightly staged. You know what I mean? That whole scenario was kind of slightly staged. Yes, Ruth had to tell Lebo, or maybe she was told by producers that, you know what, you have to let Lebo know this is what's happening. Do you know what I mean? So the way it was built up, and then the way it came to fruition, and then the way these two men tried to have a fight, it just didn't scream real to me in that sense. So after you see things come to a head there, you see Isaac goes back to his apartment. He did look hella hurt. I ain't gonna lie there, he did look hella hurt. So Kanya's getting ready for bed. Isaac comes in and says to her that you lot knew and you didn't tell me. Now, Kanya didn't know what the fuck was going on at this point. She wasn't very empathetic towards Isaac and his feelings at the end of the day. And she starts laughing, and I'm just like, it's not the time to start laughing, my girl. You can see this man is in absolute pain and anger, and you just start laughing. Isaac doesn't know that actually Ruth took Lebo to the side and spoke to her privately about the situation that had occurred. So none of the other girls actually knew what had gone on between Ruth and Nala until after the fact. So he still does not tell Kanya what the fuck happened, and I don't think he should have done anyway, because Kanya thinks she's a station above her own. At the end of the day, she thinks she's like Miss High and Mighty and everybody's peasants on the ground. That's how Kanya believes herself to be. She's put herself on this pedestal, yeah, and when she falls off of it, it'll be at a great height, and people will be waiting for that to happen, to be honest with you, because she's that type of person. She really is. So Isaac in his VC is basically saying he doesn't know how he's going to recover from it. And it just kind of spoke of, when he was speaking about it, that he was more bothered about the embarrassment that he says he feels in regards to the situation that he was placed in by Ruth and Nala. And I'm kind of like, you shouldn't feel embarrassed. You ain't done nothing wrong, my friend. You have not done nothing wrong, because at the end of the day, Isaac and Lebo are both in the same boat where they both have partners do them dirty. It's about how you're going to come out of this. So it quickly switches back to Ruth, and you see Ruth chucking all of Nala's shit out, basically. He says that she says that she didn't want Lebo to feel stabbed in the back, and that's the reason why she told Lebo what she told her. She didn't want her to be blindsided by it. But I think Nala gave the impression that to Ruth, that he was going to leave with her, that he was all in with her, that they were there, that he was at a point where he was going to tell Lebo that, you know what, them two aren't going to work out, and this is where his decision making is going to be. But Nala is he's a game player. He had the opportunity, he took it, and that's what he did. So you see Aiden talking to Lebo, and basically Lebo doesn't want to be in that space anymore, and she wants to leave. So you see Lebo getting her stuff together, and she does leave. You see Nala going to a different apartment for that night, but he does end up leaving the experiment as well. So both of them have gone. And then we get to the bit where I think I was talking about it a little bit about it in my previous episode, in terms of Scissor speaking to Kay and basically telling Kay exactly why she's not happy with how Kanya treated her during the girls' night. So Kay basically pushed Scissor into a space that she was not comfortable with, and got her to go over to Kanya to tell Kanya what she needed to say to Kanya to her face, knowing full well that he himself can't deal with Kanya when Kanya starts going. Do you know what I mean? So he takes Scissor over there and then fucking leaves the girl. Leaves her to her own devices when it was his motherfucking idea in the first place for her to go over there and talk to her. Already off the bat, Kanya is high and mighty, telling the girl, did I tell you you could sit down? Did I tell you you could stay and come here? And believing that Kay has allowed for Scissor to disrespect her when she was the one disrespecting Scissor to her Ross face, calling this girl everything else but a child of motherfucking God, calling this girl ratchet, calling this girl a hood rat, all these disgusting phrases that most people generically try and stereotype as a black woman with. And she, Kenya, as a black woman herself, uses those same types of freaking harmful stereotypes towards another black woman. This is why I said I don't like Kenya. I don't like her. I don't know what planet she thinks she's on, but she's not above everybody else in that place. I really don't like her. Scissor ended up getting up from that table literally devastated and upset. She did try and hold her own with Kenya, but it just was not working, because Kenya is one of those people where she gets screechy and she gets high pitched, and if she's talking about Scissor acting ratchet and a hood rat, she was doing the fucking same thing in her behaviour and how she was screeching at the girl. So Scissor ends up leaving, goes back to the apartment, basically lambasts Kay because she was hurt that he put her in that situation that she was not ready to be in, and then left her there. And she was so hurt that she literally was crying. And I mean, when you see women get that emotional cry where they're hiccuping and everything like that, that's when Kay had to say, oh, I'm so apologise to her, hug her, da 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 da. So then Kay decides that he's going to go over to Kenya now to go and speak to her in the way that she treated Scissor. This girl did this, dragged him and read him out the same way she read out Scissor. My man was standing there like he didn't know what the fuck to say. His words were lost. He had no words. And then this is what I mean for Kay. You're full of bullshit because you put that poor girl in a situation knowing full well she was not comfortable being in that situation, knowing full well that she would not have been able to deal with her at decibel motherfucking 10, and you put her in there and left her there. That just goes to show to me that Kay don't have no one's back but his motherfucking own at the end of the day. He is as toxic as freaking Kenya is. And that's what I'm going to say on that. So when Kenya is talking to Kay in such a way, Isaac is disgusted by her behaviour completely. But what I noticed with Isaac is, my guy, you just got into bed and didn't say fuck all. You didn't step in for your boy or nothing to say, look, come on, don't talk to him like that. Let's talk about this sensibly. I understand that, you know, Isaac was in a different type of headspace after the shit that he's just found out. But you're listening to this woman literally screech at the top of her voice to this man who's done fuck all but come there to tell her about herself and how she treats people, but yet he said nothing. So then in her VC, Kenya was talking about how there was another way that she probably could have handled the situation, but she doesn't know if it's a barrier or if she is that way. Bish, you are that way. That is you. That's not a barrier. That is you. That's something that you can't change because that is inherently within you. Even if you try to get freaking therapy to handle things the way you're supposed to handle things, I still think Kenya would handle it the same way. Like, seriously, because her first go-to, if she doesn't like a person, is insults. Like she looks any better herself. So then Kay then in his VC starts to give Kenya excuses as to her usual behaviour by saying that she's constantly defensive. I'm like, nah, that's bullshit, my guy. She's rude. She's high level rude. She's a different kind of rude, and someone is going to sort that fucking rudeness out if she's not too careful at the end of the day, because she's going to do it to the wrong person. She will do it to the wrong person, and I will give as good as they get from her, and she is not going to like it because Kenya knows who she can do that shit to. So you see, like, Kenya and Isaac are in bed now. Isaac has to get up early to go to work the next morning. Kenya don't work. Yeah, Kenya don't work. She could stay up at any night. So this woman is stewing over the Scissor and Kay shit, yeah. So at 4 o'clock in the rotted morning, this woman won't stop talking down Isaac's ear, and all Isaac wants to do is go to sleep. At that point, I would have said, you know what, please, can you shut your mouth? I don't give a shit if you start screeching at me. I've got work in the morning. You ain't got to go to work, so you can get a lie in. I can't. I need sleep. I don't need to hear all this in my ear roll right now. I have other issues going on that I have to deal with. So if you really need someone to talk to, go call your man. That's what I would have said. Go call your man. Go blot down his ear roll, because I can't deal with this right now. I really can't. So, you see Salamina, who's one of the presenters, and Hauser, who's the male presenter, and they're speaking about the situation that had occurred throughout the night, because it's the following day. And they talk about how things need to be crucial. It's crucial to prioritise self-care and emotional well-being. So that's when they explain that Lola and Lebo have taken the time from each other and left the experiment, and that Ruth and Aidan at this point will be living alone because Isaac has chosen to continue his child marriage to Kenya. Now, at that point, I did kind of wonder why Isaac stayed within the experiment. And basically I thought, okay, is this going to be some sort of punishment for Ruth of what's to come? Because at the end of the day, once they finish in their trial marriage, because don't forget they only had, I think, a day or so to go after this, that Isaac has to then go back with Ruth, and how is that going to play out with them? So Isaac basically goes to see Aidan, and basically Isaac is explaining that he's not ready to go back to Ruth yet. His forgiveness levels is not there, and I can't blame him for that. At the end of the day, it was a shock to the system to literally have what you suspected to be true and someone validate that for you. So yeah, I don't blame Isaac for not wanting to go back. Aidan is thinking that Isaac is very much invested in Ruth, and me myself, I don't see Isaac being invested in Ruth. I think at the moment, yes, he's got a shock to the system, because you know what, he was not expecting his gal to do something in the way that she did. But then on the flip side, he didn't treat Ruth well. He did not treat Ruth well at all. So there's also that nuance of a situation between him and Ruth as to why Ruth would step out on him in that scenario, and as to why Ruth would turn around and say, do you know what, I've already split up with this man in my mind, so I can do what the fuck I want to in this relationship right now. Ruth had already put her foot out that door, and Isaac did not know it until this very moment. Isaac is saying that his embarrassment stems from people saying that his girl was easy for anyone to get with. And I'm like, that's not how it is. And this is what I mean about the nuances. Isaac doesn't get the fact that he was not treating his woman right for 2 whole motherfucking years. He was not seeing her consistently. He was not spending time with her, except for probably, 8 months out of those 2 years, as he said. He was not introducing her to his family. He was not at least making her feel wanted, making her feel loved in that sense. So I don't know what he expected was going to happen when this experiment rolled around. I know it was Ruth that made the ultimatum to him, but really, well and truly, I think Ruth made the wrong decision in making an ultimatum for Isaac. She should have stepped away a long time ago, but she didn't. Ruth basically saying in her VC that she did have a good time with Nola, and she didn't like the way that it ended, and she is kind of feeling shame right now. But those are her feelings, and those are the feelings that she's got to own at the end of the day. Aidan has basically said that he's tried to reach out to Lebo, but she hasn't responded. I think what Lebo wants to do is make a degree of separation between everybody within that experiment, between the show, between all of it, to be fair, because it's probably left a really bad, nasty taste in her mouth in regards to the situation with Ruth and Nola. So we see the couples who are together do their last nights together in terms of dinner and everything they wanted to do with their couples in that sense. And I'm just going to go straight into the bit where it comes to the changeover. So basically, it was time to address the elephant in the room and basically say that they'd explain that to the group that Lebo and Nola had left. Isaac was feeling sad for Lebo. And I just thought, at the end of the day, Lebo had a lot of insecurities when it came to Nola, and he compounded on those. So now this is just going to make it absolutely worse for her. Aidan felt going back to Courtney he was positive and he was excited. He loved her and he realised that she is an unbelievable woman. I'm like, I mean, after 7 years together, you should know this, but obviously they got too comfortable with each other that they didn't have expectations of each other anymore. So Courtney then speaks about how they did take each other for granted, which is what I've just talked about. And I'm just like, when you're in a long-term relationship, that's what happens. That's what happens. Like, she can walk away from this experiment and she can say that Genesis was one of the most amazing men that she'd been coupled off with. And I would say that, to be fair, we didn't see much of these two within this experiment when they were together, and I think all they've just become is just like really good friends. So Genesis basically said that he was emotional and he needed to be honest with himself that he may lose someone in regards to Tabby. Tabby thinks that she made a good decision in issuing an ultimatum, and her trial marriage with Lindelli showed her how much better she can be appreciated and loved, and she thanked Lindelli for that. Do you know what? They're going to say what they're going to say, but sometimes, as I will get on in the episode, some of the shit that these people say, especially in front of the person that is their partner that they're talking about, is off the chain. They're hella disrespectful with it as well. Like, hella disrespectful with it. Like, hearing that shit ain't gonna hurt Scissor. Come on now. Have a bit of decorum, have a bit of diplomacy about it. But they don't. They're all selfish human beings. Like, seriously. I will say, as I was going to say in my next episode, and I'll explain why, Lindelli and Tabby are selfish human beings. And Kanya's the worst. Like, absolutely the worst. Lindelli has basically confirmed that he's in between with his ultimatum right now, and believes that he may not be ready to get married at this stage. Why you bring the gal on this show for? You could have thought about that beforehand. I mean, you'd only been together for 6 months and you gave her an ultimatum. You gave her an ultimatum 3 months in. That's fucking bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Scissor didn't like that. But I'm just like, they need more time under their belts. They need more time under their belts. I really do think that Lindelli does love Tabby, and Tabby loves Lindelli. I don't think it was just about a full-on emotional connection, or they connected. When someone says I emotionally connected with that person, for me that kind of means they've opened themselves up to the possibility of falling in love with that person, and those are very, very strong emotions and not really very hard to turn off and then try and superimpose yourself back into the relationship that you then first started off with, knowing full well that you've got very strong emotions for another person. How does that work? So everybody else just starts waxing poetic, and then it gets to Kanya. And again, I keep telling you, Kanya thinks she's the most important thing since sliced bread. I'm telling you. So she turns around and she thinks she's taught Isaac things whether he says it or not. Isaac looked at her as if to say, the fuck you say? The side eye on that dude was strong, because he was eyeing Kanya like, you didn't teach me shit. Except to show him how to avoid her. That's the only she probably taught him. So basically, Isaac feels like there was a lot that Kanya could have done, and he goes in, and Kanya again can't help herself in terms of interrupting. So she said there was nothing worth investing in, and I'm just like, Kanya just thinks too much of herself. Like, for real, this girl thinks too much of herself. Like, really does. When she's lacking in all areas. The issues with Ruth, and the next phrase, Isaac said he doesn't know how it will be and how he stands with that. Ruth basically said that she expected less since she's been getting less. She says Isaac has never given her a safe space, and she's allowed for another person to badmouth her. He didn't check up on her and ask her if she was fine or okay. And I'm just like, it's a moot point now at the end of the day, because you did what you did, and now you have to let the cards fall where they may and hope to sort that shit out with Isaac at the end of the day, because the shit that Ruth did supersedes anything at the moment, at that point, what Isaac did previously. We understand kind of where she would have went down that realm because he's not attentive to her or her needs. But Ruth made the conscious choice to lay down with another man. That's all there is to it. So you see Kanye basically talking about now she's not looking forward to the next 3 weeks with Kay, because Kay and Isaac were basically talking about situations, and that Kanye's name probably had popped up, and that's all she began to focus on. I'm just like, this girl makes me sick to my stomach. She really does. She really does. She sounds bitter as hell, but likes to tell everybody else that they're bitter. All she lives to do is make Kay's life a living hell, but some dark deepness in my brain thinks this Kay fucking loves it. Kay loves the toxicity of this woman. He loves it. Anyway, that is where the episode ended, because they do go off to be in their groups, and I'll be back in quick succession with the next episode. As I always say, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button so when you know I'm on and doing videos. Please comment, like, share and do all that good stuff, because I am on the road to 1k, and I'll be back very soon with the next episode. Peace out, my people.